Welcome to Safe and Sound, sponsored by White Mountain Fire and Life Safety. Today on the show, we have Nathan Updike with Changepoint. He is the Development and Marketing Director.
That's what I am.
I got it.
You got it.
Without writing it down.
There you go.
Well, Nate, we wanted you on the show because we have a couple shows where we've been talking a lot about the children and child abuse and the situation that we've had personally in Navajo County, where we've lost quite a few. We had a spike in child fatalities due to child abuse. And through Changepoint, you guys actually offer some services.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And it's a lot of services, and they're, so let's
Okay.
first start with talking about Changepoint.
Okay.
So I'm sure everybody knows, but just in case there's somebody out there that doesn't, what is Changepoint?
Changepoint is a behavioral health company in Navajo County contracted with Access to provide behavioral health services here in the county, non-reservation. So anybody that's enrolled in Access can get services, but we do take private or commercial insurance as well.
Perfect.
And we provide a plethora of services we have the only psychiatric hospital in Navajo and Apache counties. We have a crisis stabilization unit. Those services are for 18 and above though. And then we have counseling offices in Winslow, Holbrook, Snowflake, and Show Low. We have a group home in Pine Top. We have housing in Holbrook, and we have housing all over Navajo County.
And you guys also took on the Safe House.
We did. We just took the Safe House over.
Which saved the entire community. Everybody was like, no, it's going.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Swooped in like Superman.
Tried to be.
That's awesome. So what programs do you have for kids now?
At all of our offices, we run different groups for kids. We do have respite care at all of our offices, so we offer respite care for families that just need a little break if they have some other things going on, like autism and stuff like that.
What is the scope like for the kids with respite care? I mean, you can't get every kid, right? Because it's all children with special health care needs.
Right. So we have specially trained at each office. So if you live in Snowflake, I'd call the Snowflake office to find out what they provide. Or in Winslow, same thing.
Okay.
Then in the Show Low office, we just remodeled our kids' room, which we're really excited about. So we have like a playroom now for kids to go to and do their groups there, which is pretty fantastic. So it's a brand new looking building, and it has a lot of innovative things for providing therapeutic care. So,
and what's a group like for kids? Because I know I've seen enough TV shows to know what a group is like for adults, whether that's true or not. I don't know how Hollywood does it, but for kids,
we break them down by ages a lot of times. So on Monday we have our preteen group from 3 to 5, and that's ages 9 to 12. So we put people in kind of peers groups, so they're with people about their own age size. That 9 to 12 is a little different because you get those kids hitting the changes of life early. And so but then we have our teen skills, living skills and transition group. They're 12 to 17, so we teach living skills, we teach how to cook, how to do laundry, those kind of things to kids that are enrolled in those groups.
All the schools need to enroll their kids in that because they're not teaching that in school.
Right.
That's important stuff.
And then sometimes on Wednesdays we do our teen substance abuse group. So those that are addicted and have a problem, then they have that from 3:30 to 5 in Show Low. And
with that, is that kids that get through drug court that
Correct.
That's just part of the things that they need to do?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's all court ordered and stuff like that. So some of it is parents need help, and I need some services for my kid because I don't know what to do anymore.
And they can reach out.
And they can reach out and call us, and we can try to get them enrolled.
And drug court's doing really good.
It is.
It's phenomenal.
It's a pretty impressive program Brad's come up with.
Give those kids a second chance and teach them how to be, I don't want to say behave, but be better.
Productive citizens.
Yeah, and we want so many more of those.
That's right.
Absolutely. So with that, is this kids that have been diagnosed with something? I know that besides the drug court, but the other classes with the younger kids?
Some of them are diagnosed. Some of them just need, they've had some problems, and it's been pointed out that they need some additional therapeutic care, and that's what we do.
Does an OT come in with them or anything like that, or is
sometimes I know on our Thursday kids group, they meet with their therapist, and so they also have other appointments that they go to as well. So anybody that's in the group program has been referred by their therapist to be there.
And are the groups so this same group wouldn't be like in Snowflake, or maybe might be in Winslow, or is every place?
Every office does groups like this.
Okay.
And each office does their own kind of group. So call and find out.
Yeah. No, that's exciting to have those services for kids, because we're very limited on what we provide kids in this community, and they're. Yeah, kids need. You can't fix a broken adult as best as you can fix a broken child. Train
a child in the ways when he is young, and when he's old, he won't part from it. There you go. So that's an old biblical phrase, and it's true.
Yeah.
So when you get a kid trained well, they live that way.
No.
So.
That's good. I'm going to have to get that one written down so I can remember it, because I like it and I'm posting it on Facebook. Because we need to focus on our kids. And that hasn't been, the one thing that I learned about when I came into the healthcare industry that really frazzled me was, well, there's no money in kids.
Right.
There's no money in treating kids. Money's all in senior care.
Right.
Money's all in the older people.
In 18 and plus, or in our world, we say 18 older SMI or Title 19.
Yeah.
And so, but there is, Medicaid provides some funding for treatment of kids, and anything younger than 9, you want to do it peer or into the family, and so you want to do family counseling. But at 9, kids are kind of developing their own identity and their own personality.
I have a 9-year-old.
Right.
I get it.
And so that's when they find that it's effective to start doing individual therapy.
You know, in France, it's really heavy, their family counseling.
Right.
Like, it's like the norm.
Right.
And they have so much less issues when it comes to children and family.
Right.
Because the one biggest thing, and my husband always says this drives him nuts, is when somebody breaks their arm, you can see that they have a broken arm.
Right.
And so you don't touch that broken arm. But you can't see what's going on in somebody's mind. And sometimes you can possibly say the wrong thing to set them off, or do something, you won't notice it. There's a stigma with mental health. And then when you do find out, it's like, oh.
Right.
Oh, no.
That kid's on, when we were kids, it's the ADHD kid, and now it's kind of, transitions where kids, they're bipolar, and and that's the stigma, and they're kind of weird, and
they're not.
They're not. They're just learning how to be themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm personally, I'm hypermanic. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I talk a little fast.
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
And I go fast, and I do a lot of things fast.
Right.
I don't think I think it's a benefit,
you
especially
get things done.
Yeah, especially this position I'm in, and I don't mind telling people that it doesn't, because I'm like, yeah, give me something, let's do this. But it's when you can accept that, and you know that sometimes you need to take a breath before you talk, because there's some people that can keep up, my other hypermanic friends, and there's some people that can't. But knowing about yourself and learning about yourself and being okay with it, and not thinking it's not bad.
Right.
None of this, it's not bad if your child has sensory processing disorder.
Right.
Which is something we just found out. One of our child has sensory processing disorder, what we think she has.
Right.
And we're working with Healthy Steps. We're learning a lot of things. We're going into OT soon. We have a doctor that's, helping us with that. And why not know and accept what's happening so that you can develop the tools and the resources to help.
A perfect example of that, if we go back to physical health, the kid that can't see, and I had a mom describe when she finally got her kid's glasses. The kid could talk, probably 3 or 4 years old, and they were driving home from the optometrist, and the kid could finally see a tree. Look, Mom, a tree. First time, And I think if we look at it that way, from that perspective, when we're helping kids understand themselves and how to deal with what they have, then it helps them, oh, look, I can deal with this now. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's I can see it now. I can understand what a tree is. If you don't get that help, you never understand.
Well, and I've heard of other people who are like, well, I didn't figure out I had sensory processing until I was 30.
Right.
And it's like things are so much harder, and we're already working on stuff with her to help her. And it makes, when you find out something like that and you read about it, it just clicks and it makes sense.
Right.
You know, she doesn't like to wear shoes. She doesn't like tags. They're itchy. I mean, just things like that. You're like, the questions were so out of whack, and you're like, why am I answering? Does she like to brush her hair? Well, actually, no. She won't let me brush her hair.
Right.
She can't stand it.
Right.
And then you start reading these questions going, oh my gosh, I'm on a path to understanding.
Right.
And now I can help.
And now you can find the tools like a pair of glasses to help deal with it.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
And that's what you guys are doing here with all your
Right.
classes. You're teaching these kids and supporting them because eventually they're going to be adults.
Right.
And they're going to go out and be, you know, productive citizens.
Right.
And they have to have the tools. It's just like learning how to count back change.
Except, just like with an ailment where you can't see right, you need a few extra tools to get you to the even with everyone else. And that's what we're providing, is those tools that'll help them be even with everybody else.
And sadly, in our community, there's not as many resources that are utilized
Right.
like this.
Right.
And that's what we want to bring awareness
Exactly.
to, that we do have resources
There
for
are
these kids.
services available.
And some are free, some are very inexpensive, some take your insurance, some take, you know, the state insurance, whatever it
Right.
is. You can find access to something.
Mm-hmm.
We all work together to where you will know where to, you know, if somebody's like, oh, well, this is not a good fit for you, but this is.
Right.
You need to go here and talk to these people. They will help you.
They will help you. And then once we get social services involved, and there's a community that will help build that up, and make it better.
And these kids are our future, and we have
Right.
we have to help them.
Exactly. Or we have things that happen in Florida happen other places.
Which breaks your heart that and I'm not sympathizing with Nick Cruz, but
Right.
you can see where the system failed him,
Right.
and then where the system failed those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now the system, the laws and the legislation and legal issues in the school and the police, you can see where they failed.
Those are side effects.
Yeah, those are side effects. But this kid just had a horrible
Right.
life.
And when the mind is broken, like we were talking about, bad things become options. And so when you fix the mind, those bad things are no longer options. There's other options out there.
And what's really hard is when we talk about the child abuse that's happened here, we have some kids up here, and sadly a large number of kids who have had adverse child reactions,
Right.
or what is it called? Adverse child effects, where
Correct.
they've either watched a child be abused in front of them, or been sexually abused themselves,
Right.
or, you know, with family members, or malnutrition, or, you know, there's so many things up here that our kids suffer from.
Right.
That puts them on and I'm not saying on a path to be a school shooter or anything like that. I'm saying puts them on a path where things are a lot harder on them. Mm-hmm. They don't have the support that they need. They don't
Right.
have the love that they need.
Right.
I mean, I have a friend who grew up and never, the mother passed away very young when she was born, and she never got that bond.
Right.
And she knows that, and it's just, you can see a child that's been held
Mm-hmm.
compared to a child that hasn't.
Right.
And every child needs to be loved.
Right.
And it breaks my heart that they're not sometimes, and they go
Right.
through this. And so I'm very appreciative that we have something here.
And our teams, our designated case managers and the people that are over it, they're so compassionate. Lacey here in our Sholo office, you can just feel the love that she has for these kids that she works with and does things with. And on Fridays they have a Friday fun day, and they do fun things, and it's fun to see the energy that builds in these kids as well.
What kind of fun things?
They just went to Arizona. They've been
Really?
down, yeah.
Wow, like super fun things.
Right. They went down to the Science Center a few weeks ago. So
That's awesome.
really good things, you know. And then we have a mentor program in the summer that we're going to do, that we reward these kids with other things as well as they develop skills and set goals and accomplish those goals. They get rewards, and it builds a positive momentum so that they can see that there's good things that'll happen as they work towards those good things.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is what a feel good organization.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we try to do good things with people that have had bad things that have happened.
And that's important. It's positive reinforcement, and it's. I know that awards, rewarding a child works perfectly.
Right.
I have a 9-year-old that incentivize her, she'll get it done.
Right.
You're going to be waiting a while.
It's going to be a while. So I'm sad we couldn't bring these kids here, but they're excited to do things, and we can see progress, and that's the fun thing for, I think, our people, is to see when they make these strides and become confident in themselves, because a lot of times they don't have that confidence in themselves where they don't feel as good as the person next to them in school. And that's a horrible thing for a kid to experience.
We just did an interview with 2 girls from a school in Colorado that did the walkout, and we got into why. I asked why they did the walkout, but that wasn't my point. What I wanted to do is I wanted to get into high school, and I wanted to figure out, what's high school like? I haven't been there in 20 years.
Right.
What's going on? And they have 4.0s, 4.5s, and 5.0s now. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, 5.0. So they have regular class, then they go into honors classes,
Right.
and then they go into AP classes, which is college classes.
Right.
But they have to maintain like a 5.0, and then they have to pay $100 to pass this test at the end to get credit for this school,
Right.
this college class. I'm like, if you take the college class, you should get credit for it.
Right, exactly.
Just incredible. But the stress that was on them, because now they get 3 hours of homework every night. Then if they want to do sports, then if they want to have a
Right.
job, then all this stuff's going on. Then they're at school, and then they have the stress of peer issues
Peer
or whatever.
pressure, and then social media, it compounds that.
Yeah. So we got talking about social media, and I said, is there bullying on it? And they get the keyboard people behind the keyboard people, where they don't talk to you in person,
Feel
but they
safe.
can
Yeah.
get behind a keyboard and do that. And she goes, oh yeah. People will say so-and-so is a hater and she's not my friend, and then all of a sudden they're friends again. I'm like, but it doesn't delete what was
Right.
said on there. So that's always
All
there.
still there.
And then I asked her, I said, so, because I know suicide's very high.
Right.
And sadly, we just got a thing back where the Native American population, it's up 16%,
Yeah.
is what it said in suicide.
Right.
And I think that has things to do with poverty and the system.
Culture and other things.
Yes, which breaks my heart and definitely needs to be addressed. But so I brought suicide up to these kids, and this is really what got me. They said, oh yeah, a matter of factly, oh yeah, everybody does it. I had a girlfriend who was successful. Oh yeah, I have many friends who've tried it.
Tried it.
Yeah, not even a big deal.
That it's an option.
Yeah, yes.
That's just the path they took.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no big deal. So
life is so precious. And that's the hard thing to teach, is your life is precious. And you need to treat it as that.
Absolutely.
Right.
I didn't address it with them right then and there, because I needed, it was like a slap in the face. I'm like, wow, this is really happening. You see the numbers, like 5,000 something a year.
It's horrible.
A year.
And it happens here.
Yes, and it does, and it's heartbreaking because it's. I had a friend whose daughter tried and ended up in the hospital. A close friend of mine.
Right.
And it was like, why didn't you go to your mom? Well, I didn't want to bother her.
Right.
Well, with your life.
And then the social media side of that, where people reach out but don't really care. So it's there's not that one-on-one that changes how somebody feels inside, because just to type a message sometimes isn't enough. You need to be present.
Oh yeah.
And having that present body one-on-one to help a kid is a different deal.
Well, and you need these kids need love.
Yeah.
Period. And through these programs, I mean, you're able to steer them away from something like that.
And have them have something to look forward to.
And learn to grow and to understand how things work, and to not learn that is not an option.
Right. It's not a normal thing.
My husband, who turned 51 yesterday, everybody knows, he's up there. He way back in the day when he was a kid, the option was running away.
Right.
From Wizard of Oz, sticking that little thing, and I'm going to run away.
I'm going to run away.
Go back to that.
Right. That'd be the little better option.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Don't, because you can't get attention from killing yourself. The attention's gone.
It's over. And now all you've done is hurt everyone around you.
And wasted such a beautiful life.
And then there's the contagious act of that.
Obviously.
Right. So
I'm blown away at this. And public health, we have a teen health program,
right.
And it's run by Heather, Lucas, and Rosemary. Go out into the schools and stuff, and they come back and they read some of the things that the kids are saying. I'm empty inside.
Right.
I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just like, the majority of it, yes, it's health education, sex education for these kids in school, but she went out and she got how to love myself, how to respect myself.
Right.
She got all these pamphlets because she noticed a trend just in what she's doing in the schools locally here.
Right.
That this is happening and this is an issue. 50% of the time, these kids are saying things.
Right. And it's a cultural thing, so that those kids are talking about those things.
But they're not talking to parents.
And they're not bringing parents in or involving the people that can help them pull out of that kind of.
Kids shouldn't be raising kids.
Right.
We need to be involved in that, and that's sometimes parents
Right.
don't understand. When you send your kid to school, you still need to parent.
Right.
You still need to make sure you're involved in their life, or else you'll lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can lose them to many things. I
Right.
mean, you guys see it.
Absolutely.
You see kids go into drugs route.
Right.
You think kids go into the suicide route.
Right.
Kids, there's many bad routes out there.
And then the kids that are in situations that no one should experience.
Yeah.
And to see that, it's hard. And that's why it takes a community like your program, the county program, our programs, and if we get those kids that are at risk in those areas and get them into those kind of programs, the community can help where things don't work out as well as they should.
And speaking of that, how can the community help support what you're doing?
Just knowing about it, finding, if you know a kid that might need help. We have people in the schools. We have 2 dedicated workers that go to schools all day long to help. And I know at Sholo in particular, we have great communication there where, hey, this kid might be at risk, and they talk to us and we try to get involved with the family and work some things out so that we can fit some programs that work in. And work with the family so it's an option for them.
And how do they receive that? The families usually, if something's...
It varies here.
Yeah.
But those
Not my kid type deal?
not my kid. But as the school works with them and then it becomes apparent, our people are really good at reaching out to families and helping them understand, hey, there's some things that we need to help with here. Not that you're not doing a great job, but let us help so that you can do a better job.
Absolutely. Changepoint did something pretty amazing a couple years ago is you guys rebranded.
Right.
And when you rebranded, it was like you shed this cocoon.
The stigma
Yes.
of Pineview.
Yes.
Yeah.
You shed this, and you guys, because I love the Butterfly Boutique, but
Right.
you guys are out there like a brand new butterfly. The amount, taking on the Safe House, these programs for these kids.
Right.
You got you were held in this cocoon, and all of a sudden, boom!
Boom! Here it is.
Things are happening.
Right.
And it's huge.
It is. It's been a fun thing to see change in the community and the services that we can offer. We have a lot of tools to help families.
And having that relationship with the local,
schools and being involved and then parents call us all the time. What can I have? What is there to help my kid? As you're just like what you experienced with yours, what are the options? And because once you find when your kid goes through something like that, you don't really know what to do. And if you don't have somebody to talk to or call, you feel lost and alone, and that's when you fail.
Or you don't know how to communicate your feelings to yourself. How are you going to communicate them to somebody else?
Exactly. Or how do you find help? So, you call and we try to do what we can to make it happen.
And that's definitely needed. Like I said, in France, it's
a family deal.
It's the
Right.
norm. Why can't it be the norm here? It needs to be. Why our mental health issues? We're practically a state of emergency between that and opioids. Everything
Right.
we hear, behavioral health. Why aren't we?
We don't have the services and behavior. We do have them.
Yes, they're not being utilized.
They're not being utilized.
And do you think? I think that's because of the stigma behind
Right.
them. I don't want people to know.
Right.
Oh, I'm an open book. I could care less what people know. I want to be best.
You are the enigma, though.
Well, I can spread that around to everybody.
It is contagious, though, and that's a great example of how to be. I know I've got 4 kids of my own, and we've had our own issues, and it's hard when they feel low to themselves because I shouldn't feel this way. It's not normal. But when you find the right tools and get the help you need, that can change and make a world of difference.
Absolutely. You know, I haven't said this in a long time, but there was, back in my early 20s, I had a roommate, and I had just a hanger, and I was hanging my belts all over the top. So I had like 5 belts, and I was like trying to put the hanger on, just on the little thing, and putting it up. And she looked at me, and she's like, Allison. And she picked up the hanger, and she looped each belt around the thing.
Right.
And she's all, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so much easier.
There's a tool.
Exactly.
Yeah, just how to deal.
Made my life, like that little thing made it so much, because I didn't have to keep taking it out and doing this. That's all it is.
Right. Just a tool, that a different perspective to help somebody see a different way to do things.
And the more tools you have, the more and the more resources you have, the more successful you'll be. And that's all we want for these children.
Right.
Is success.
Right.
And to help those who have been through the horrible parts of it.
Right.
To be able to be loved, to know that they're worth something.
Right.
They are part of our community. We have that wholesome community. And we all care about each other. We're very fortunate to have agencies in this community that work very good together.
Right. And we do. It's fun in developing different programs to see, oh, let's help you do this. And it's not a competitive thing.
No.
It's we can help you do this, you help us do this. And it's a partnership more than anything else in our community, which you don't see other places.
No, and we're very fortunate to have that. And how can we spread the service? Because that's all it's about, is making sure that these children, even community members, get the resources and the help that they need and want.
And want.
Definitely.
And because you can't help somebody that doesn't want them.
No, and then at Changepoint, you guys did something absolutely amazing that the Children with Special Healthcare Needs Coalition was very excited about. In June, you're going to be bringing somebody up here, right? Is it June? Is it still happening?
It's still happening. Okay. There's been a delay.
Okay, that's okay.
So we're working on some things.
Then we'll end up sending that out a little bit later, so people can hear about that when it does happen, and hopefully we'll have another show
dedicated to that. Absolutely.
Absolutely, because I'm excited about it. So
it's really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. Really exciting things.
Oh, yes. And we appreciate Changepoint and all you guys do.
Oh, thank you.
So, Nate, thank you so much for coming on here. And thank you for watching Safe and Sound. And we'll see you next month.